Alrighty, we are going to move on to the U.S. Championship match. Sheamus versus Cesaro. Can Sheamus do any wrong? Can Cesaro topple Lobster Head?
I think Cesaro is going to pull it off. I don't necessarily. Well, I'm not a huge fan of Sheamus. The man is a great worker, but he needs a heel turn, something fierce. He's a heel in everything but name. So the sooner that turn happens, the better, I think. Meanwhile, Cesaro absolutely deserves a title. The man's been putting in the work of his career lately. So I really hope this is where he comes out on top.
I sincerely hope so myself because I'm looking at Cesaro to win the title. As much, and I think Sheamus is more interesting, if that's even a relevant word for Sheamus, to when he's chasing a title, not so much when he has one. Um, but I mean, it's so hard anymore to in WWE to determine who's a face and who's a heel. I mean, it's so hard to be hated there anymore. There just seems to be no time to build any heel heat. But I would really like to, I mean, because Cesaro's been a Heyman guy, and he branched out from that, and hopefully he will turn on the heat. If they're not turning him face, hopefully they'll give him something to, turn into heel. But as far as he and Sheamus goes, they have the chemistry. There's going to be a great match, but I see Cesaro coming out on top. He kind of needs this one.
Yeah. Cesaro definitely needs it. Sheamus, like it's been said, I mean, the guy seems to do no wrong. Seemingly in the WWE eyes, he's just consistent. He's bland, and that's not a poke at his skin tone. It's you know what you're getting with Sheamus every time, and that bothers me. Cesaro is a guy who's needed a push and needed something because he's a fantastic worker. He's amazing on the mic. When he was doing the five language thing and insulting everybody in five languages, that was brilliant. Then they made him yodel, and that was terrible. And that was like the beginning of the downfall. Uh, I mean, I think Cesaro's going to win this or I'm hoping he wins it. I should say he's my pick. I've said it so many times before. I am not a Sheamus fan, just because nothing changes for Sheamus.
See, this goes back to what I heard Triple H say during during the CM Punk documentary. He's like, it's not the title that makes the work, the guy. It's the guy that makes the title. And Sheamus has had, I don't even remember how long he's had the title. There have been times when I forgot who the U.S. title holder was, because Sheamus just doesn't really do anything to bring it. He doesn't really have the presence to carry it, to carry a title, and so I'm looking at Cesaro as the guy to make something out of this. It's like, bring the U.S. title to prominence again. Do something to bring back some prestige to it.
I don't think I can agree with that philosophy because look at Ambrose. He was he was the U.S. champion for almost a year, and nothing happened there.
But he never, they never had him defend it, and he was part of a faction, and they had to split focus between the three of those guys. So it's just like, I mean, now that he's on his own, it's a different story. I mean, Cesaro doesn't have that to worry about. He doesn't have to split. He doesn't have to share attention with Paul Heyman now. He's on his own, and he's just, focus is entirely on Cesaro. If he has the title, it's up to him to do something to make it noticeable, make it important, to make people want to chase it.
Well, that's what I mean, is that philosophy doesn't work when you have all these other variables and outlying factors like that. Ambrose is a incredibly polarizing figure, but not only was he not booked for anything outside of the weekly Raw, outside of the 3-man or the 6-man tag matches, but for the longest time they would only book an IC title match or a US title match, and they almost always went with IC title. So regardless of whether it's Ambrose or a guy like Sheamus or a guy like Cesaro or a guy like Santino, I don't think it's quite the character makes the title anymore. Maybe a long, long time ago that was the case, but I mean, people live or die on the pushes that creative hand out. And you need to kind of support a guy if he's holding the title.
TW Podcast.